Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be my summer book haul. I'm going to try to go really quickly through these because I do have quite a few. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to give you synopses for all of these. However, if you are interested in finding out more about a book that I show you guys, as always, I will leave all the links down below for you guys to go and check them out. Let's get started. This is one that I actually forgot to talk about in my last haul. Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. This is the Penguin English Library edition, which I absolutely love, except I am a little sad that they changed the texture of the covers. This is an older copy that I have of one of these books. This is Jane Eyre. The covers are kind of rubberized. They have an author portrait in the back, as well as like they're just kind of a thicker cardboardy type paper. And these are like a lot thinner. It's obviously not rubberized at all, and there's no portrait. Either way, like, these books are beautiful and they're not too expensive as well. And I buy these on the Book Depository because they are UK editions, and the Book Depository is usually where I buy all my UK editions. Confess by Colleen Hoover. I already read it. It was okay. It's definitely, I definitely think I like Maybe Someday more than this. I don't know if this is something that Colleen Hoover does with all of her books, but with the two that I've read, there has been other kind of media. Like with Maybe Someday, it was songs, which I'm still obsessed with a couple of those. I listen to them on Spotify sometimes. For this one, because the main protagonist is, or one of the main protagonists is an artist, they actually have the art in the book, which is really good because you can actually see what they're talking about when they're kind of mentioned in the story, which is really nice. I've mentioned before that my library has this little like nook hidden away in a corner of the building, and it's a little store, and basically paperbacks are 5 for $1. These are my most recent purchase from that little store. The first is Fahrenheit 451. This is a classic I've never read before, but has been highly recommended. It takes place in a world where reading is illegal, and the main protagonist in this, his job is to burn books, and he burns them in a fire that's 451 degrees, hence the title. I'm very intrigued by that, obviously, since, you know, books are kind of my thing. I'm intrigued to see what kind of a world would be without books and if reading was illegal. I can't even imagine it, so this is a classic that I definitely want to read. Next up is In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. This is one that I read for my AP English class. I just almost smacked myself in the face. It's one of those books where, like, I don't even necessarily think I'm going to reread this again anytime soon, but it's one that I read in class and it just kind of stuck with me. This is a true crime story, and Truman Capote interviewed these two men who committed a gruesome murder in the late 1950s, I believe. Yes, November 15, 1959. Murdered an entire family in their farmhouse, and Truman Capote really got to know them. He interviewed them, and he really wanted to get to the bottom of like what made these men just like break into their house and just murder an entire family. And it's definitely a really interesting book, and I enjoyed this book, and like I said, it's one that kind of like sticks to you a little bit. The next three I picked up mostly for like nostalgic reasons. First one is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. This is a book that I remember being terrified of in elementary school. I thought that it was the scariest thing. I remember just like flipping through it and just being scared by like the drawings and stuff, and now looking at it, like, I don't think this is really that scary at all, but I remember being terrified of it, and I saw it, and even though it's not in the best condition, I mean, like, it was less than 25 cents. So I decided to pick it up. Tuck Everlasting by Natalie Babbitt. This is actually one that I didn't read when I was younger, but I read this for my children's literature class in college, and I remember really liking it. And last but not least, I have Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. I've never read Peter Pan, but the movie that came out like in the early 2000s was one of my all-time favorites. I actually saved up my own money to buy that, and I replayed it so much. I think the DVD even got scratched at some point, and I had the biggest crush on Peter Pan, the actor. I don't even know his name, but I remember him from my childhood. I was obsessed with him. I loved him. I'm excited to finally read this. And then last from the library, I have Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. This is the second book in the Red Queen trilogy. I actually got this because my younger brother and I signed up for the summer reading challenge that my library was holding. If you read for a certain number of hours and did like a certain number of activities, cities, you got a free book, and this is what I chose. I wasn't like the biggest fan of the first book. I liked it enough. I thought it was good. I can definitely see why a lot of people love it. It just wasn't something that I felt like I was dying to get my hands on the next book. However, since this was given to me by my local library, I was like, okay, well, I own it. Like, now I can actually see if the series improves and if it's something that I want to like invest more of my time in. Next, I'm gonna fly through these really quickly because I actually already mentioned most of these in my last video, which is my video for the National Hispanic Heritage Month reads. I decided that I'm going to try to read books by Hispanic authors all throughout the month, and these are 3 of the books that I ordered off the book outlet. The first one is The Girl at Midnight by Melissa Gray. I've talked about this. It is a paranormal fantasy, I believe. The synopsis just really gives me very kind of Daughter of Smoke and Bone kind of vibes, which I'm totally into. Super excited to get to this one this month. Next up is Dream Things True by Marie Marquardt. This one is kind of a star-crossed lovers contemporary romance where immigration kind of comes into play, and I really want to see how that is handled in a contemporary YA romance, because that's definitely something that I haven't seen before. And then next is The Weight of Feathers by Anna Marie McLemore. And I think this one also has a kind of like star-crossed lover situation, but there is a lot more magical realism in this. I've heard really good things about this one, so I'm very, very excited as well. Last, I have The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. I've started reading Morgan Matson's books this year. Really became a fan of them, but I hadn't actually gotten my hand on this, which is her newest release. I think she released this earlier on this year. So I saw it on the book outlet and I just jumped at the chance of getting it. Look guys, puppies. Puppies, so many puppies. I love puppies so much. I want a puppy so bad, but we can't have any in the apartment, so I just keep like looking at pictures and vines of them all the time, which is definitely not the same, but that's all I have. Anyway, okay, next up, I went to a local used bookstore a little while ago to trade in some of my unhauled books, and I got 2 books. The first one is Fallen Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. This is the first book in the Fallen Kingdom series. I didn't own a finished copy of this. The copy that I have of it is actually an ARC, so I've been dying to get my hands on a finished copy. However, I've noticed that like Morgan Rhodes books, or at least for this series, the books tend to be a little bit more expensive normally than like your average YA fantasy book, like for hardcover. So I was really excited when I saw this at the bookstore, and I traded it in for a couple of books. So I got this. Next, I got A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. It's an older edition because, again, like when I go to used bookstores, I get really excited when I see older editions of books, and I'm more tempted to buy like older editions if they're in good condition. So even though they did have the new editions which would actually match the editions of the 3 other books that I have, I opted to get this one just because it's from the 90s, and even if it does look a little antiquated, I kind of liked it. Plus it was cheaper, and I did like the little design. I don't even know if the newer ones have this kind of design thing, but I liked it for those. So I think that was it. Those are all the books that I picked up. I do have actually a pre-order coming, which you probably already know which one it is. I don't have it with me yet because I am going to the LEIGH BARDUGO event on October 2nd. So if any of you guys are going, please let me know. I'm thinking of maybe having some sort of like mini unofficial meetup of sorts, because I know that like I think Hannah and Brandon are going. So if any of you guys are interested in that, I'll have the event details down below and everything. It's happening here in the Bay Area in Los Altos, I believe. I'm super excited. If you guys are interested in having some sort of like little mini meetup, or maybe we'll just like gather around as we all wait in line for the event to start or something, like I don't know. I just think it'd be really cool to like meet people and talk to people at the event. So if any of you guys were interested in that, please let me know. I'll have all the information linked down below for you guys to check out. And yeah, that is going to be it for this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye guys! Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be my National Hispanic Heritage Month reads. That's a mouthful.